Shalom. Thanks God. Today we are the 23rd on the 5th month, 1979 by the Hebrew calendar that we as House of Israel we're following. Our Parasha today it's gonna be Ekev. It's from Devarim 7:12 to 11:25. And I almost forget to greet all the people that are in Colombia, Argentina, Costa Rica. Shalom to all of you. In Mexico, the USA, Nicaragua, and El Salvador. And also in Shela, Totonicapal. And greetings from our beautiful country. Also, as you can see to the camera, we have new curtains thanks to the people that provide money and also to our Rav and Hava. And our synagogue today it's so pretty. So we're gonna start with the cat. As you can see, there is a picture of a kid with the headphones because our parasha starts with a consequence of having heard these secrets and having kept them and put them to work. So there is a conditional, and is that if we listen and if we keep and we put them to work all the decrets, the Lord is going to keep also the pact He made with us. And this is done by the Lord, not just for His name, and it's actually for the love that He has to the people that were before us, like Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. A resume or a summary of our parasha that we're gonna see today is going to be the consequences of living in Torah. And then we're gonna see what is the definition or the meaning of the word consequence. So first, it talks about like a resume, because the Lord says that He's gonna love us, and we see a relation with love between the Lord and us. We see that He just doesn't want to. She just doesn't love us. He says that we are gonna be blessed, and there is a part that says that He will bless us with the fruit of the land, with the animals. But that is the consequence of loving the Lord, not just to follow Him. It's basically of loving Him. It's about the heart, not just the mind. It says that it will prevent us from the plagues and disease of Egypt. Those are consequences. The Lord, great and fearful, will be in our midst, so we don't have to be afraid of what is around us, because if we love the Lord, He will be with us. Another benefit of a consequence of living in Torah is that we will have life. It says that the credits are for to live. Another one, and I guess that a lot of us we just passed away that vertical, is that we will be tested by the Lord. And He says that He punished us by being hungry in the desert. That way, the Lord wanted to teach us that we don't have to eat just bread. We need to actually love the Lord. So the Lord tests the people that are just injustice, because the people that is being, they weren't even be able to be awake when the time to be judged came. So sometimes we have a lot of things, but that is maybe just because we are being tested by the Lord to see if we are still with Him, even though that we have such a lot of good things. We have learned that being blessed or not is gonna be done, or it's gonna be with us, based on what we're gonna do with that. So the Lord tests us every day. What we do with the 24 hours that He give us every day, and everybody here, we have something in common. We have 24 hours to see if we're gonna be light, if we're gonna shine to the other people in the dark, or if we're gonna be the opposite. So He says that we need to be very careful by not forgetting the Lord. So sometimes we just look out for the Lord and we talk to Him just when we have bills to pay, when we need something. But remember that we don't have to forget Him, even if we have a lot of things, even if we are in abundance. Remember that He is the one that give us the ability to make fortune, wealth, abundances of resources. Remember that He's the one that give and is the one that takes all the things away from us because He is the King of the universe. Something else very important is to recognize that everything the Eternal does for us is just to confirm the covenant He made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not for our justice. So today we're here to sit not because we are very intelligent to study the Torah or the Bible, it's because the Lord, He remembered the covenant He made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And He promised descendant to our father Abraham, and that bless was passed to Isaac and then to Jacob. And then by this love that He has for them is that why we are here to sit today. Also, we see in this version that Moshe reminds the people of how rebellious he was on those 40 years in the desert. Remember that the people of Israel was walking, but they were complaining a lot, even though all the miracles the Lord made in that desert. The fire at night and the cloud in the day, during the day. But the Lord remembered through Moshe that we were rebellious because we were also in that place. Something else is that what is established with the Lord is not a religion, it's a relationship of love. So remember that maybe we are here sit, but our mind can be in another place. Maybe there is people watching the cell phone, and instead of seeing the Torah, they are looking at another thing. Remember, this is not a religion. This is about a relation that we have with of love. We're gonna see now what is the meaning of consequence. It says that it's a fact or event derived, or that it inevitably and necessarily results from another. So a consequence, it's the effect of something. If you can see at the draw, there's someone falling, but that person doesn't have nothing to be protected. He thought that he was gonna be able to go over the gravity rule. So if remember that person, the gravity is gonna make him fall, but a consequence, it's a fact or event derived, or it is inedible and necessarily results from another. Now, as you can see, if we divide the word, it says cause and effect. There is a cause and effect of what we do every day. That's why we need to be very careful with that. The universe, it's and the metal, it has energy, and we guide that energy every day whenever we are. Even the women, when they are cooking, they are doing or they are creating or guiding an energy to the thing that they are cooking. So remember that when the women they are cooking the pancala on Friday, they are singing and they are very happy because they are doing all the things to the Shabbat. So everything we do has a consequence, positive or negative. Even though we don't have we are not conscious of it or not. There is also someone pushing that piece because there is a piece besides behind to another one. So the rest are gonna be also falling down of a consequence of the first one. What is gonna happen if you love your wife? Well, the consequence is that it's gonna be a woman realized or complete. Put attention to your woman, to your wife, and the consequence is that you will have a woman, inshallah. And I said more to decide because sometimes the man needs to accept that there are different things to him. When the man accepts that his wife is different from him because they are different, both of them will be completed. So do not wait to have an incident at home to react because bless God, thanks to God, they are different. Because if not, he will be able to do just the man. So the compliment at home comes when the man and a woman they are conscious that they are totally different. So the man has to be conscious about it. So he will be able to treat the woman like a glass that it's fragile. So days ago we talked with Jacob that now the parents they don't choose the husband for his daughters. But I said yes. But in the majority, we educate our kids to choose wife, husband, work, everything we do as parents or household, we are educating our kid, even with conscience or not. It depends on how we educate that kid. Until 15 or 16, that kid, that person is going to be able to choose or it starts in activity with the work, with the studies, with the university, and there is a bad said or a bad thought that there is no school for parents because when we see our parents, we see how our parents educate us, and sometimes we just repeat what we have seen at home before. When we have conscience of the consequence of how we educate our kid, not because we're gonna say, it's because how we act. So since kids, since very kids, we learn or they learn everything. Our sons, our kids, they are attracted by our words, but our facts actually are the things that are gonna teach them. So we need to be very careful with that. That way, you as parent, you will be able to choose the wife or the husband to your son and daughter because you will be sure of what you have or how you have educated your kid. So now, since they are with the mom before they are born, they are able to learn and hear everything. If we don't talk to them, if we don't instruct or we don't give instructions or how to do things, they won't be able to. So there is a kid that they were, since that kid was with the mom before she was born, that kid, the mom was playing Beethoven, classic music, Hebrew music, and all that. And now that kid, you talk with her, and she can explain you all the parasha with being confident. And his dad, it's actually he studied psychology, and he knows how that kid um, can be educated. Remember that everything it's energy. So remember last week there was a video about elephants, and sometimes it seems like the animals are more intelligent than us, than the humans. And what happens is that the um, the team lead of that group of animals was taken away from the rest of the group. And what happened with that elephant? Very angry, she started to pushing away all the walls where actually she was inside, and outside the reserve it was all the people trying to kill that elephant. But they called a man named Lawrence, and they asked him if he wanted to help because he has a lot of land to take all the animals there. That way those animals won't be killed by the rest of the people. So that elephant threw away that wall, and she started to yell at them, and that person started to say, "Don't come here, because if you go away from this place you will be killed." And he started to repeat and then repeat it and repeat that. And then the elephant wanted again to push away that wall. But that person Lawrence was telling him again, "Don't come here, don't come here, because if you go away from this reserve you will be killed." But remember, everything is energy, because at the end that elephant understood, and she was able to be inside that reserve. The elephants were inside. So it talks about a relation. We're gonna see now if we have a religion or relationship with the Lord. In Devarim 11:13, if you diligently listen to my commands that I command you today, to love your Elohim eternal, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. So sometimes we can just go away, or we just can read that versicle. Oh yeah, I love him, I serve him with all my heart, with all my soul. But Joseph today was talking to us on what is the importance that we give to this place. Not just all the Shabbat, because Shabbat is a feast, but how much important is this Shabbat for us? Because if we are here, it's just not to take a place, because the Lord has given us a knowledge to look for Him through the Torah with the Ruach of His Majesty Yeshua, and to see more deeply this. If you diligently listen to my commands that I command you today. But let's see, what is love? Yeah, it is involved with the emotions, feelings, but it has to be conscience, with conscience. Love, in a Hebrew, it means it is ahava. Love, a giving conscious act, linked to justice in order to benefit, unify, and maintain the harmony of creation. So it's kind of we need to evaluate ourselves in order to make sure if actually we love the Lord or not. Maybe it's just to give a hug or to kiss to another person, but in the spiritual world, every act we do has to be charged with love. Remember, love, it's giving conscious act linked to justice in order to benefit, to unify and maintain the harmony of creation. That's why we study Torah, because there are laws that the Lord has given us, not just the material things like the vegetables and the plants and the animals. It's also to to get a relation with all the people that is around us. So do not go over this versicle. It says but it says serving you. It means doing a job. So the Lord has given us a knowledge to stay here. So I have done an exercise with all the people that has come to the Torah. How or what is the way that was used so they are here now? What is the road? And it says that he changed what we wanted to look for since the beginning or since the deep of the bottom of our heart. If you diligently listen to my commands that I command you today, to love your Elohim eternal, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Leibab. It's the Hebrew word heart. It would be to serve with our inner man. It's completely, not just to the teeth, to our lip, with all our mind, paying attention, will, and again, heart. As I said before, sometimes we give excuses of why we don't come here in time, and maybe it's because we haven't given to the Lord completely, and maybe because the spirit that are in the feast and Shabbat, and that passion, it's actually a consequence of a relation that we have every day, as Joseph said before. Oh, maybe just in Shabbat I have the time to wake up late. Do you think that would be the correct thing? No, right? And also it says to serve him with all your heart and soul. Soul, nefesh. It's the word Hebrew. It says life, being, mind, emotion, feeling, passion, cloud, and appetite. As the people that they with all the appetite to the people that like the food a lot. Sometimes I see that in Facebook, like the Barcelona or Real Madrid, and other events things, and sometimes we talk about a lot of that, like football, food. But what about the Shabbat? Or how about we're gonna serve the Lord? Serve Him, loving Him with all our heart, soul, appetite, all the appreciation, emotion, feeling, and when it talks about it. So I don't think that you have conquest the wife you have now just by saying how much you like her. It was about being passionate about it, or with all the emotions, with the inner man that you have inside, because you were able to be complete with that person. And I just hope that everything goes actually like that way so far. Now, this relation is a consequence, and it's in our Persia. What is the cause for this consequence? We can see that in Devarim 10:16 it says, "Circumcise then the foreign skin of your heart, do not harden your cervix." So, as we have talked before, it doesn't work. It doesn't work if we have the foreign skin. If you're still strong or hard to follow the rules of the Lord. Why? Because if you're not humiliated by with the Lord, know that by my own I cannot do all the things, because I need to put on my knees and talk to the Lord and tell him, sir, I can't. I have tried to do it, but I can't alone. Because what it needs is to put on your knees and say, Majesty, I know that I will be able to, but I will be able to do that just if you're with me. I'm going to be complete with you. And also we see the same thing in Devarim 30 and 6. And your Elohim, your heart, and the heart of your offspring will circumstance. so that you love eternal with Elohim, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, so that you may live. So is anything is just in the middle. Everything has to be done completely. That's what the Lord wants. It says circumcised or circumcised. Because we say, is the Lord that's gonna circumcise us or us ourselves? Well, the answer is both because the Lord is the one that is gonna circumcise our hearts through the sacrifice of His Son, Sumakta Yeshua. But we are the one that has. We need to make sure that that heart is going to be or continue circumstanced. So that's what we need to do. If not, we're lost. Now, why the Lord mentioned that He will circumcise our heart and our brain? Because in the brain, sometimes we think that it's where we're without, but basically, it's because on the heart is because in that heart, it's where is the knowledge of all of our human being. When we don't do the things with passion with the Lord, to the Lord, is because we don't love Him. Sometimes we came like in the middle. Maybe I'm gonna be just to the Parasha. I don't like praying, so I will came until the break, or maybe to the coffee, the coffee break because I like it. And that's not what we have to do. On our heart, it's the knowledge our Rab has taught us what is Haskalah, Havana. We know that Haskalah is where is a concept presented to us new, but we are not able to take it how it is. We need to change it to our reality. The phase or the step of Havana is when something is presented to us and we think we understand that, and actually we do, but we don't accept that. But what actually it works out is the Hasaga level. Is when I understand in my heart and I know how and I can see it, but until that is doesn't go down to our heart, it's just something theoretical. And then we have the next level when we accept it in our inside of us, in our heart, in our mind, and we don't need to destroy it to accept that to our reality. A lot of us, we say we are Israelites, but we don't actually do our acts like that. So this is my challenge for you now. Verify how exactly you act like an Israelite or not. Verify everything you do. As Joseph said before, how you keep the Shabbat, how you behavior as a man, as a woman, as a kid, as a son, as daughter. Because if you do the same thing as the people that are outside, then what you are. So it doesn't matter if you're circumcised already. What matters is how you act. What are the facts you do, being an Israelite. Now, circumcise our heart that it's being done by the Lord. The cause and effect is that we love Him, we serve Him with all of our heart and all of our soul. But sometimes our facts they show that we are not where we are supposed to be. In this same chapter 10, just in the verse 14, we're gonna see what is the reality of the Lord, of God. Devarim 10:14. Behold, from eternal, your Elohim are the heavens, and the heavens of the heavens, the earth, and all the things that are in it. So it means that the Lord is present right now in this place, and He's everything. But we forget that, and we are more afraid of being in a place that it says smile because you're being filmed, and then you start to compose yourself. without remembering that the 24 hours of our life were being seen by the Lord. And it says that from Him are the heavens of the heavens, the earth, and all the things that are in it. Also, it says that only for your fathers was eternal pleased to love them. And he praised again this word, love them, or love. In this parasha, there are two twice that the Lord love us, and three times that we have to love Him. That's why I was saying this is not a religion. This is a relationship, and we need to go more of our brain, more of our knowledge, with all of our forces, heart and soul, of this call that we have been of the house of Ephraim house. So He changed our mind since the Babel that it's in the beginning as humanity. That building was built by a lot of people, and then with in Noah, um, when it started to raining a lot after that, the people of Israel, the people itself, started to multiply themselves. So they were agree, and what the Lord actually was sure is that all of them were units, and they were going to do something to go to the heaven. So that's why it says, "Let's go down to see how they are," and that's why they started to be confused. So since then, um, everything has been the same thing, being confused. And as humanity that we are lost at the point that sometimes we don't even know who we are. We think that we are physics when actually we're spirituals. With inside a body is just to act in this physical world. We have been in a in a place that actually in this world that is nothing has to go with the reality. Last week I was with Joseph to the beautiful Xelajú here in Guatemala, but just by the fact that there is a president chosen already, now the atmosphere it's totally different because there is a tohu in each place, city, even in every colony, and everything we what was coming to us was like dark. But as I mentioned before, I hope that you have prayed as Abraham did, not just the nation, but the people that are justice and that will live in this beautiful country. We still have an image of the first Adam after going out of the garden. We are developed as humanity, going away from our creator, going away from our creator, and we live an illusion that we think it's a reality. We live in a matrix or in a matrix made by the men, and we are so involucrated, or we are so deep in that illusion, and we really think that actually that is right. That's the reality. Sometimes all you haven't gone today because the rabbino is not here today, but we need to know that whenever or whatever people eats at the front, Shabbat it's a date we have with the Lord, with the matrix or matrix. It's the matrix. Let's see what is a matrix. Matrix from the Latin matrix. There are a lot of meanings or concepts. The first one is internal reproductive organ of woman in which the fetus develops. That's what I said, that the women, we need to treat them like glass that is so fragile. If not, the men will have the kid inside them. But no, that's why you, the woman, you have that gift to be able to give life. What is matrix? It's a mold that is used to shape something. As I mentioned before, the internal organ of the woman, it doesn't need a explanation. What about of those educative systems that we are being educated, even without having conscience of how or the way we are being educated? For example, here in our country, we are being taught we're being taught to just to memorize a thing without resolving the problems, learning how to talk to another person. As we have learned that there is a question that it doesn't need to have just one answer. It can be more than 10 answers for just one questions. For just one question. And that's why we need, I think that homeschool will be success because it has the basic things, but the rest is under the parents, what they want to give the children. Another concept of matrix, it's the most important entity of a group from which other minors are derived. For example, like ideology, capitalism, socialism, that it's so that it's so known now, like to be in the left or the right. And the governments, it's promising a lot of things, but they cannot do it. And we are so comfortable of what on this matrix that sometimes even our leaders, it says that it's something normal. I mean, imagine that. Another concept, that's the set of conditions that provides a system in which something grows or develops. We see wars, hungers, and sometimes a lot of those things are planned by systems, by religions, systems that are attempted to our reality. But why we don't think? Why do I believe in what I believe? Also in this program, Morgan Freeman. What if we born in the India? Maybe all of us were going, following the Buddha. It depends. Maybe in Africa, maybe we will be like witches. But I said those conditions that the system, or where exactly we are born, we are so accustomed to that jail, because at the end it's just a jail, that illusion, and we are so covered by that illusion. And there is a point that we think and we say, that's what I like, that's what I believe, and we are so comfortable with it. And there is a something called like a TV, a LED TV, a plasma, and we don't think that maybe that is just to distract ourselves, and that way we don't take the place as human beings that we need to do, as as image of the first Adam. And it looks like there is no answer, or there is no resolution to that, because sometimes we need, well, not sometimes, actually we want to break this system. But there is when, at that point is when you man and you woman, you go you start to play something. Don't believe that just because you're pretty, because you're intelligent, you're in this place. There is a function that we need to complete. Do you know why we are here? Because I was saying the first time, the base it's in Bereshit 48, 5, 6, and 14. Jacob's blessing on Ephraim and Manasseh. When he crossed his hands, instead of putting the right hand on Manasseh and the left one in Ephraim, since that moment, he changed something. And the Lord rectified that. And Jeremiah in chapter 31 and 9, it says, I will cry the tears, but which with mercy I will bring them back, and I will make them walk along streams of waters, on the right path in which they will not stumble, because I am not Israel by feather, and Ephraim is my firstborn. And what if we are Ephraim, the firstborn of the Lord? We are able to break that matrix. How a firstborn is known is the one that breaks that matrix. The one that doesn't break that matrix is not firstborn. Even if it's born in a different way, like not the natural way, that is still the firstborn. But if you are not able to break that matrix, you are not gonna be, or it's not gonna be applicable for you as firstborn. Maybe it sounds like a fantasy or illusion again, but actually that's the reality. That's the real thing. Jacob, he had 12 sons, 12 children. The fourth was Yehuda, as we have seen in Torah. I'm sorry, in history. Yehuda was the man that was always on the wars, as we have seen that in Yehuda have been kept on these for the times with Yehuda, and sometimes they were not like being honest at all. They were able to keep that, and we're not here chosen because we're good, because we're pretty, but by our own forces, by our own, we won't be able to do anything. If Jehuda, since we have known him, he take the arms to go in front and fight. But now it says that we're not gonna be with arms, with instruments to fight. It will be with the ruach. And I tell you that today is the day of Ephraim. We need to break up that matrix of religion that all of us we get comfortable, and the people were being happy on the Catholicism, and that's totally, it doesn't make sense. But we are the one we're called to break up that of different religions. And it's on that moment when when I ask you again, did I tell you? I told you this like a month ago, to see the what, or I'm sorry, to watch the videos of Light of Ephraim in YouTube, because it's important to know who we are. We need to be able, with science and to our life, to explain to a Christian and a people, a person of Israel, of Judah, what is the Torah, what is the Tanakh. I ask for permission to Zadok and Neshama to mention them in the parasha, because it results that those 6 days of the week, there was a doc on the company he works for, sitting in the desk like p.m. there was a friend of him, and he was start to asking like, where exactly are you going? I remember that you already told me a little bit. What are you doing? And Sadok started to explaining him, no, I'm keeping the Torah, the commands. And the friend started to making questions, and Sadok was responding then. And then another friend, another, and there was a fourth man. But sometimes there was a point that it was four people. Well, to make long short story, 7 person Sadok was telling them about the Torah. When they realized, they started talking 4 p.m. and they finished like 7. And Sadok says now, Yermiahu, if I haven't seen those videos of lights of Ephraim, I wouldn't be able, I wouldn't be able to tell them who exactly I am, what I'm doing, what I believe, and why. Because they recognized, I guess I have like 2 or 3 years to being here, but 4 months ago they recognized that they didn't know anything. They were just coming because they liked it, but suddenly they started to ask themselves, "What are we doing here?" And they call Dan. Sorry. He was able to share more videos about Ephraim and Sadok and Neshama in Shabbats in the afternoon. They began or they watch a video again and again. Like 15 days ago, Neshama was so happy and the deep parasha that the Lord, that Ravina gave us. They go inside this ear and they go to another one, and then we forget everything we have. And Daddy, if we will be asked, and if we are not firstborn, if we don't break up that politicum religious, we won't be able to be applicable as firstborns.